Hi, how's it going? Thanks so much for joining me. So today is my end of year 5th grade curriculum review. So I'm going to go over everything with you from the order that we use things and tell you like my opinion on it, how it worked for the year. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to show you guys all of my favorite books / curriculum, my least favorite, and then a few of my favorite resources / supplies. So I thought that'd be the best way to do it instead of doing it all over the place. So thanks so much for joining me. And also, I normally link things in my videos so people can find the items, like usually on Amazon. But since I've pretty much shown all of these items before, I'm just gonna go ahead and link my 5th grade curriculum video, the first one that I did, and then that video will have should have all of the links, if not most, if not all of them, for you guys. Okay, so let me just get started. So this video will just be just the review. So the first thing we did at the beginning of the day, every single day for 5th grade, was math. Now, that worked really well for us because when I'm doing a lot of things in the morning, like household things and making my breakfast, which a lot of times takes longer than my daughter sometimes, my daughter can just start math right away, which takes the longest out of all the subjects. So it worked really well for us to start math at the beginning of the day because she's pretty much would start it on her own. And so this is Saxon Math 6.5, which is what we used. And I'm not going to do like a thorough review of everything, you guys, because I already kind of like went over that along the year. This is a solutions manual, and then this is the thing she did first, which is like the warm-up prep. And I just wanted to, I'll just mention again really quick in case some of you guys are new, that I pretty much divided it because it was taking so long the previous year to do all of this, then do all of the, assignment, worksheets, the lessons, sorry. And these are the tests in the back, but she did pretty well. Yeah, so that's the first thing, and then we did the lesson. So we finished majority of this book. I'm filming this. It's actually May 3rd. It'll probably be on YouTube a little bit later than that, but we're technically finished today. This is our last day. I decided to film this video, and basically we got up until lesson for the whole 5th grade year. We did up until lesson 130. I'm sorry, 100. Can't talk today. Sorry. 113. It's 120 lessons total, and she worked until 113 was where her last one. And I could have had her do this over the summer, but I just decided to just go ahead and end it because she really worked hard this year. We got a lot of the book complete, much more than we did for 4th grade, because we did use this also for 4th grade. Saxon, I don't feel like it's perfect. Out of all the other math curriculums we use, it's my favorite. I think sometimes they don't give my biggest complaint about it is I think sometimes the way they explain things, like the new concepts, sometimes it's a little confusing for my daughter, but that may just be with every math. But otherwise, she did pretty well. She got, yeah, I don't know what else to say about it other than I liked it enough to where I actually already purchased it for 6th grade. So we're just continuing it, it's math. it worked. And then so also for the lessons, I'll show you guys real quick, which is a review kind of. Sorry, I'm tearing the pages, not that it matters. This is probably just going to be recycled because we can't reuse it. Okay, so what we did, say lesson 76. I didn't have her do the warm-up at all because it takes a long time. The whole lessons takes, and then I would have her read the new concept by herself every lesson, skip the warm-up, read the new concept, read through it, and then she had to do all of the lesson practice, which is what's based on the current lesson. So she did all of the lesson practice every single day. And then for the mixed practice, which is like a review every day, I let her do every other one. So I went ahead, in advance, I would highlight just odds or evens. And that's what we did the whole year. She just did odds or evens for the lesson, and it went much quicker. And I don't feel like, it hurt her any because last year we did pretty much every single question, and math was just taking so long. I feel like it was just wearing her out. So that's what we did the whole year. So yeah, you guys, it worked pretty well, and we're continuing. And then after she was finished with math, and either she would check it or I would check it, basically language arts would start. So basically also we did math Monday through Friday. Math was the only subject we did Monday through Friday because I wanted her to get through the book a lot further than we did for 4th grade and not have to do so much over the summer like she did last year. So so for pretty much every other subject besides art, because she wanted to do art on Fridays, we did Monday through Thursday. And then I'll tell you guys about science and history, which rotated. But so then Monday through Thursdays, she would do language arts. So this is the first thing she did, which was her planner. And basically, she didn't really technically use it as a planner because she didn't really, she's a kid and, she's not real big into planners yet. So she basically would just look at this book, A Word a Day. And it has it's like a calendar vocabulary book. So whatever the day was, like March 4th, if we were in school that day, she would write the vocabulary word on that day. And I just had her practice this so she could practice using a planner, writing the date, and then she just wrote the word. And then she would just read the definition. So I really like this book for vocabulary. It's very fun. I usually try to use a different vocabulary book every single year. So I would say this worked out well. I would say that, honestly, I like the fact that I incorporated a planner for her, but then I don't feel like we got a lot of use out of this. So, what we did years prior was she just would write this word somewhere else, not necessarily in a planner. So that was something new, and I don't know if I would do that again. Like, we're not going to continue with this method for 6th grade. But I would say it worked out pretty good because I use a planner personally every day for stuff, and I want her to get used to keeping the date and stuff like that. So that's what she did next for language arts. And then the next thing was this. This is my year of writing. This is 365 creative writing activities. I'm also going to tell you guys as I go if any of these items she's continuing throughout the summer. It was just a little writing prompts book. And just has all these different questions, like what words could you use instead of said in a story. So we didn't finish it because it's the whole year versus the school year, 365 days. So we didn't finish it, and I gave her the option. I said, do you want to just do this in the mornings in the summer? And she's like, no. And I didn't make her. I decided not to make her. So I think it was a really good prompt for us at the beginning of the language arts section. So yeah. Okay, so next, basically she did handwriting. And so for handwriting, I got the handwriting without tears set. And then I got this learning cursive with Aesop's Fables. So let me show you guys this first. So basically, this is just a blank writing journal. This really came in handy because, so in this book, I had her just write, random personal things like that, of course, wouldn't be in these books mostly. So I had her practice writing her name, her address, things like that. And then I just also wrote random sentences for her to practice. So it just came with the set. So I would say I didn't think I really needed it. She could have wrote her name somewhere else, but I think it was a nice bonus. So these were the main two books that she did. Now this is Can Do Cursive. Let's see. Actually, we started this the second part of the year. We did this first. This is Building Writers. This one isn't handwriting. This is more like language arts. It has narrative writing, information writing, opinion, argument writing. So yeah, I take that back. So this one she finished pretty quick. I think we finished this before Christmas. And I knew she finished it pretty quick because we did with all the other handwriting without tears books. So I really liked this book. It has some of the things we skipped because I felt like it kind of repeated. But I liked how it introduced the 3 different types of writing to her. And I will say I'm very sad that Handwriting Without Tears ends in 5th grade because, we've been using it since kindergarten. So yeah, this is my favorite memory where she wrote about when we got our cat Willow, and she drew a picture of him and then wrote about him. So it has all these different little prompts for them to do. I really liked it. I wouldn't say I really, really loved it. I liked it. It's very brief in the explanation of doing these things. So, but, it's pretty clear. But I would say maybe the way they explain things could be a little more thorough would be my only reason why I don't like say I love it, but I really liked it, and definitely it was worth the money, and I'm glad I purchased it in this set. So yeah, she did finish this, and that, like I said, we can't continue for 6th grade because they don't make it. But then this was the handwriting one, Can Do Cursive. Now, this one we started after we finished this. So this was the first part of the year, this was the second part of the year. And this one I really liked. It's just, you know, it's basic learning, basic, you know, cursive, and then all these like basic lessons. And then, so this one we only got to a certain point. And so I'm having her continue this over the summer because I really want her to continue working on her cursive. So I thought she won't take the whole summer to finish it. She'll probably finish it in the first 2 weeks or something, because sometimes she'll do more than one page. But it's not just handwriting, like they do and try to incorporate like language arts stuff. Like here's like pronouns and like, you know, but adverbs, but it's not like real thorough. Again, it's kind of like just really brief. So I didn't rely on this for like language arts. I just mainly bought it for handwriting. But yeah, so we're gonna continue this. So she got like to page 51, and I am having her continue this over the summer. And she, like I said, she'll probably finish it pretty quickly, but I did want her to finish it. So that's where we're continuing over the summer. Oh yeah, and then learning cursive with Aesop's Fables. Our main reader for 5th grade, I'm gonna show you guys in a second, is Aesop's Fables. So I got this to go with it. So this one is like really basic handwriting in the beginning. And so this one, she's like 70% done, complete, but I want her to finish this one also in the summer. So we got all the way to like not much left, literally. So she will probably finish this in a few weeks. And so I'm gonna have her take like maybe however long it takes, like in the mornings when she wakes up, instead of doing math, because she won't have any more math to do. She'll do these few things I'm showing you guys in the summer. It won't take her long. And then I'm still gonna have her do her 35-minute reading. But the exception for the summer is this summer she can pick whatever she wants, which she normally does independent reading. Books that kind of gently like encourage and pick at the beginning of the school year, and she's pretty much finished most of those books for 5th grade. So then in the summer she's still doing 35 minutes of reading with some of the books that are left over from 5th grade and some other books from her book cart. But she does way more reading than that. When I say she's 35-minute timed, she reads for like I don't even know how long, like throughout. She reads on and off throughout the day, like what she wants to read, mostly middle grade fantasy. So I'm just continuing the timed reading to keep like a schedule. And then after she finishes like the handwriting and a few other things, she'll do the time reading every day in the summer. And then, like I said, so yeah, so it's just like the quotes. It's like copy work of quoting like some Aesop's Fables. I really liked it. She didn't really like the fact that it was so much like just the letter writing. And she would have hoped for just this, like just the copying the quotes, which honestly you could probably do in a notebook, but I thought it was fun. I liked it. Okay, continuing with language arts. This is what we use for grammar. It is Growing with Grammar. This is just the answer key. So she finished this weeks ago. It's just like Growing with Grammar. Here is the student manual. It's like usually a 2-page spread of the lesson. And then you go on to do the worksheet that correlates with the lesson. The review is longer, but other than the review, everything else is usually like a 2-page, reading like a 2-page spread, which is very good amount. It's not too much, I don't think. So then she went on to, do the correlating lesson. So we've been using this curriculum for a while. I would say it worked out really well. The main thing I really don't like is the diagramming. Honestly, we haven't used another grammar curriculum that I've really like, other than maybe like really early grades. We used, I think, like Jolly Grammar, which is really fun. But other than that, so I don't really have much to compare it to. But we weren't really a fan of the diagramming. Sometimes I would just have her do half of them. But I would usually check it for her because I wanted to see how she was doing. And she would usually get it like most of them. Like, see this, I just had her do half the diagramming because I felt like 8 of them was a lot. Yeah, so I would say it worked out pretty good. I am using it for 6th grade. Let's see. Okay, one more. Oh yeah, one more thing. The copywriting, the copy drawing, or whatever. So another thing I had her do for language arts is we were really sad that Draw Right Now ended also in 4th grade. So I wanted to kind of try to replicate Draw Right Now, which was like drawing a picture and writing like a sentence on it. So I got this book, How to Draw Modern Flowers for Kids. She has a lot of Allie Koch, the author. She has a lot of these books and they're really fun. I even bought some for 6th grade. So it's a really simple way to draw a flower. I had her use this little blank notebook to draw. Now, at first we were thinking I was gonna have her write a sentence about it, but I was like, you know what, it's just enough for her to just write the title, the name of the flower, and then do the flower. So yeah. So when we ran out of this book, she continued. When we finished this book pretty early in the year. You know, it didn't take too long to finish it. And so then I just had her use whatever nonfiction books she wanted. And that's what she did. Like this was like a woman biography book. Yeah. And then she used like another leaf book that we had, a tree book that we had, and then she used like a mythology book and she drew these goddesses. So I just had her kind of do the same thing since we had already finished this. But this worked out really well for language arts. It gets her, you know, like practicing like dexterity and then just like learning also about how to draw like simple things, which I kept separate from art because I found it more like copy work. But I actually think you could use it for art because I actually am going to be kind of using it for art for 6th grade. It gave me kind of more ideas for that since she's getting older and we're moving away from more process over product stuff, which she did. So this one turned out really well. She did this with markers and some color pencils. So yeah, and then when we got to the end of the year, I just had her draw basic objects that I just chose a different object every day, and she drew like, you know, pencils, scissors, a stapler, you know, scotch tape, things like that. So yeah, so that worked out pretty fun to end the language arts session, which she looked forward to that every single day. And so the last thing we did for language arts, Aesop's Illustrated Fables. Now, we did this every single day, and since a lot of the fables is short, we got about this far. So we are going to continue this for 6th grade. And so every day, she just opened this, and then she orally read out loud a little fable. And we loved this book. It took the place of longer reading that we used to do orally when she was younger. Now that she's reading so much on her own, I'm just not a big fan of a big fan of oral reading. I think some people I love the fact that some people love it still, but like as their children get older. But for me, it just like, I don't know, it just like gives me a headache. Like, I don't know, I'd rather just read, you know, like short things out loud or just read in my head, read a book silently. But yeah, so this worked out for us for our oral reading. So we also did this for language arts. This is A World of Gratitude, How People Give Thanks Around the World. This is just a very short book. It's like a typical picture book, like 32 pages, I believe. And so basically this was just a fun little way to learn about different languages, how other people say, like how to say thank you in North America. She really liked this book. Some days we would forget to do it and she would always bring it up. Oh, like we forgot the gratitude book, let's get it out. And it has like gratitude facts and customs. Here's like South America, you know, all the different continents and stuff here. That was also what we finished, how we wrapped up language arts. Okay, so next we did science. And so I think we started out the year with something else, you guys, but we quickly moved on to doing chemistry. And so this was pretty much everything most of the things I had for, I think so. So this was our main book, Chemistry for Curious Kids. And I knew it would be like a very light introduction to chemistry. It's just like an introduction is what I call it to chemistry. I really liked this book. Basically, we would just do like read a 2-page spread every day, and that was it. And we would sometimes I would also pull things up on YouTube, especially like, you know, if I thought it would be something worth watching a short video on. So we did incorporate YouTube videos with this. So yeah, so that was pretty much, that took us through most of the year, just doing this book. But then alongside it, so on Mondays we would read this book together. And then on Tuesdays, I would have her read a different book that was a little bit like it had to do. This one's like Usborne Lift a Flat Periodic Table, and this one's The Element in the Room. So this one, since it's like interactive and a lift a flap, on Tuesdays she would just you know, kind of like pick some things to read. It's also very short. It has a lot of information in it, but it's pretty short. So we finished this pretty quickly, and I just thought it accompanied the, you know, the chemistry book very well. So after we finished this book, then I had her do this book, and this one we would do together, The Element in the Room. This book's beautiful. I really love it. And to take it a little bit further, I had her use this notebook. This is just a graphing notebook. And so I had her do the whole periodic table on here. And that took a few weeks because we only do science. We only do this section of science one day, you know, other than the reading on the other day. And then I had her start the elements. So she would read the page about the elements, and then I had her draw some objects that, you know, that had the element in it, and then, you know, do like the element. So she did that like the whole year, most of the year. And so we didn't finish this. And so I told her it was up to her if she wanted to complete the elements over the summer, and she opted not to, and I decided not to make her. So I could have, but I decided she learned quite a bit, you know, this year about the elements and the periodic table and stuff like that. So I didn't decide to have her continue the entire book, but we got to a really good stopping point with the elements. And she might finish reading it, but she's not going to continue doing the notebooking. But I thought it worked really well, you know. Yeah. Okay, so that was on Mondays and Tuesdays, and then on Wednesdays and Thursdays we did history and geography, North American Maps for Curious Kids, and then the 7 Continents Evan Moore Workbook North America. So for this one, we basically just orally picked a 2-page spread, which pretty much most all of them are 2-page spreads. And it's just like various information, you know, like fun things like the eight greatest lakes in North America, super volcanoes when Yellowstone blanketed the U.S. and Canada in ash, and it just shows you how far, you know, like it has like a paragraph usually to read about it, and then it's like a graph, and then North American weather extreme. So yeah, so she really liked this book. Like there were some days where we had somewhere to go, and I was just like, let's just skip geography. And she's like, well, can we just do this book? And so she always wanted to do it. So that's a good sign. I definitely like encourage her to finish these books, you know, in her free time. But this one I believe she wanted to, so I really liked it. And then this one is the 7 Continents of North America, Evan Moore. Now this one, I'm kind of like, workbooks are like that way with me. I'm always kind of like, how much is she really learning out of the workbook versus, I don't know. Like, honestly, I decided I was planning on doing like all of the continents, you know, like each year maybe doing a continent. I'm kind of starting late, but then after we did this book, I decided that, you know, I think she got just as much out of geography from doing this. So I decided not to continue this for 6th grade, like the geography Evan Moore books, but I can't say like I didn't like, I guess also it's black and white. It's, you know, it's not as colorful and engaging as, you know, other books that might have color and stuff like that. I would say it was okay. Like, I mean, I definitely had her. So basically, I had her get to a stopping point. She actually did one more page. I put a little X in the end. So we got almost to the very end. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to make her finish it. We pretty much did it quite a bit. So she pretty much had a few lessons left. And I could have made her do it over the summer, but I decided, you know what? We did enough. We worked, she worked hard enough this year, whatever. So just, it was okay. History, I would say, as a subject for the whole year was like my least favorite, big time. And I would say went the most rocky. This was the main book I picked, which was Everything You Need to Ace American History in One Big Fat Notebook. Now, I think that this book, in my opinion, is great, or would be great in my opinion, for like an independent reader. And like maybe what it says, a complete middle school study guide. But I personally didn't enjoy it as an oral read, which is what we did and always have done for history and for science so far. So basically, it's colorful, but it's just like, it's not because it's not colorful, it's not the colors or whatever, but it's just because a lot of the lessons, so we did history Wednesday, Thursday. A lot of the lessons were a lot. It just depended on the lesson. Some of them, I guess I'm trying to say, were too long in my opinion. Sorry if the lights getting dim, you guys. I waited all week to film this video, and it's been gloomy all week. And I'm like, and it's supposed to be gloomy next week. And I'm like, you know what? I just want to film the video, so I really apologize. I hope it's okay. It's usually much sunnier in my videos, but the weather has been very gloomy. I think hopefully it's okay. So I do apologize. So, yeah, some of the lessons were really long and we had to break it up, which is typical, right? That's what I did when I was in school or college or whatever. It's not like you read a whole chapter always in one day or whatever. But, I just found that when we would go back to it, the Thursday after the Wednesday, I literally wouldn't remember anything we read. I don't know. It just didn't stick in my head. So I really enjoyed the days, what I'm trying to say, where we were able to finish reading the chapter in one day. And sometimes when there were longer chapters like this one or whatever, we would just divide it in half. Now, I did like the fact that at the end it had these little questions check your knowledge. That was kind of fun. And then, it has the answers on the back. But maybe, I don't know what it is, but I just didn't connect with it. But my daughter liked it. Before we got to the stopping point for this book, I was like, you know what? I checked out this book from the library. This is Smithsonian American History, a Visual Encyclopedia. And I thought, well, let's just switch to this book because it has photographs and, timelines and kind of more interesting things, I thought, visually. But we quickly discovered that we didn't like the format of it and it was way too short. So what was happening was, say, for example, we get to this section in this book, North and South Drift Apart. It just felt like we would read it and it didn't give us, of course, enough information on each subject like this book would, because this one's way more thorough, of course, because it has longer chapters, where I believe that this is kind of more, in my opinion, you could use it as a main book, but for us it didn't really work well, and I thought it was better more as a supplement. Kind of all over the place. I haven't really found what I'm going to do 100%. I did buy some stuff for American History for 6th grade, but I'm not sure if we're going to continue this book alongside the other things or we're going to let it go. So that's what I'm on the fence about, you guys. So yeah, if that wasn't enough talking, I don't know what is. But this is D.K. Smithsonian, The President. So this was a fun supplement. We used this alongside both of those books. And so basically every time a new president was mentioned, after we read the chapter or half the chapter, we would go to this book and then get to read more about the president, which gave her, a little bit more information on the president and then, the order they come in and stuff like that. So we got up to the 20th president. And this I definitely am going to continue in 6th grade. So the next thing that my daughter did every single day, which was Monday through Friday alongside math, is art. So art came after, all of the other subjects. And this is the main book I got, 365 Days of Art. So basically, it just has really short prompts that she was able to do every day. And I really enjoyed this book because it gave a very large variety. Now, the only complaint I have about this book is the pages are not thick enough to do a lot of marker or like paint. Now, they did bleed through, but I didn't really think that was a big deal because, 99% of the time I would just have her use pen, pencil. She was still able to use marker, but if you can see, it's hard for you to see, but it did bleed through a little bit. It was okay with the marker, but the paint was definitely not going to happen. But I'm not saying it's even meant for that. Oh no, she does mention watercolor. There's no way we could have used watercolor paint in this book. But yeah, so it just gave her a nice way to explore different things, different processes. Some of them I had her skip, like this one was more calligraphy. I kind of had her skip the calligraphy ones. So this, she said 100% she wants to continue over the summer. And I definitely encouraged her to do that because it's 365 days, which of course was less than the whole school year. I mean, more than the whole school year. So we got to a stopping point, which was like here. And she still might have some left over probably. So I'm going to encourage her to just finish it because I think it's like be a good, nice little cute art journal for her to look back on. And then when we got to some things in this book that she really enjoyed doing, I just included this. This is a mixed media pad. Now, I wish I would have just would have bought a larger one. This was only 5.5 times 8.5 inches and 5.5 by 8.5. And so I prefer the 9 by 12s. And that was kind of my regret. I didn't want to waste it. And she usually draws larger in her personal drawing too. So we did use it, but if I would recommend, I would say like doing a larger pad. But this is just some things I had her do. Like I always have her do a self-portrait every year. And this was her self-portrait. And then I had her do some things like this is watercolor. And some more watercolor, like a still life. She drew her great-grandmother. She drew her whole family. She drew me, her dad, our cat, our dog, our Chihuahua Sid, Chihuahua mix, an eyeball, and then she drew our Catahoula Sully. So then I had her experiment with doing her self-portraits in different techniques, unshaded versus shaded, oil pastel versus pencil, and this was like, I think oil pastel and soft pastel. And this was like, I think, oil pastel and just pencil. And then this is like an animal I had her draw. And then this was like her idea. She got an idea for this from that book. Paint smudges with watercolor and then ink. This is like a landscape that she did. And this was like, so she still some paper. Now, I definitely will not waste this paper. I'm going to have her continue using this over the summer with her personal art. I don't want to waste all this, nice paper. But I just really wish I would have bought a bigger pad. So art was good. I really liked it. I read this book, Happy Healthy Minds, again by one of my favorite publishers, authors / publishers, The School of Life. They make a lot of philosophical psychology books. So I had her she would read this by herself. She got like almost like, she didn't finish the book because she's only doing it one day on Fridays. But basically it has like all these topics, like mental health topics for children. And, I had her read it by herself because I thought it would be like, because it's like about her feelings and things like that. She said she liked it. I mean, she's like me. She's kind of not really big on like nonfiction stuff like that. So, but the illustrations are really nice. They also include a lot of like prints of like, like photography and paintings and stuff like that. So they're very artsy in their presentation, which I love. I think it worked out pretty well. I wanted to definitely include something with emotional intelligence, and I really had a hard time finding resources for that especially for young readers. Like there's a lot of resources for adults, but So I was happy with what I found. I don't know. Yeah. And then this is a workbook I found, Heart and Mind Activities for Today's Kids by Evan Moore. I pretty much had her, I let her skip some of the activities that she didn't really want to do, which was like cutting stuff out and or like making copies and stuff like that. She didn't really want to do that. So I mainly had her do the stuff that was like just in the workbook. That she didn't cut out. Like even this, like she didn't want to, like she's not big on coloring. She likes to draw, but I told her she didn't have to do the stuff she didn't really want to do. I just wanted her to mainly read about the concept, like self-control, you know, like are you an introvert or extrovert? Like different things, like about awkward situations, you know, just have her like introduced to these concepts. Oh, and then, okay, so then the other main thing that she did on Fridays, and this was a project I had her start at the beginning of 5th grade, thinking she would finish it by the end of 5th grade, but she didn't. So basically, it's making her own comic book. It's like a blank, even you can design your own cover. So she did not finish it yet, but she's going to continue it over the summer. And it's basically just this like kind of fantasy comic book, graphic novel / comic book that she came up with. And she has all these characters. She's going to color it and stuff like that. She might even finish this in 6th grade. I'm not sure. I'm not going to rush her because she definitely is putting a lot of work into it. She would do it every Friday. I really thought it would be finished by the end of 5th grade, but I didn't like pressure her. I didn't tell her, oh, you have to, but like, so it has quite a bit left. So whenever she finishes it, she'll finish it, but she definitely has to finish it because it was like it's like a ongoing project. But I definitely think it was like a really fun ongoing project that lets her express herself. She read about 75 books from the beginning of August, the beginning of 5th grade until today. This was just a plain notebook we had left over, and I had her use this as a reading journal. And really not journal, just a log, I should say. I mainly just had her write the title, the author, and then the date she finished, and that was it. Then I was gonna film a separate video of just those books, but I decided, you know what, that's like a lot of books to like go over, which I know nothing about because they're mainly fantasy, and you know, she usually helps me sometimes. But so I just had her pick her top 6. I actually just told her to pick her favorites, and she ended up with 6. So these were her favorites throughout the entire 5th grade year. They're either middle grade or YA. So these are either middle grade or YA, and they're in no order, but these are just what she said were her favorites of the year. This is Tweety Sutherland, Wings of Fire, Legends, Dark Stalker. So she finished the entire Wings of Fire series, and this was like another series or add-on that Tweety Sutherland had about dragons, very much fantasy, and she said it's one of her favorites. And then this is Percy Jackson, The Olympians, Rick Riordan, The Lightning Thief. This is book 1. So over the 5th grade year, she really became a huge fan of Rick Riordan. And I'm not surprised she picked this, you know, this book as one of her favorites. So basically, you know, it's like mythology and all about mythology and stuff like that. So Greek mythology. So she really liked it. And then the next one she picked is Ian Colfer, The Fowl Twins. And so basically he wrote Artemis Fowl, and I believe this is another like add-on or like series, like, you know, by the same author. The Fowl Twins and Artemis Fowl, they're connected. But yeah, this is like adventure. I don't know if this one's fantasy. Well, it says magical creatures. Yeah. But yeah, that was one of her favorites. Okay, and then I believe the next 3 are YA. I'm not 100% sure. But this is Cinder, The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. I believe it is YA. So she really liked this. It's like a kind of like a loose, you know, it's like Cinder based on Cinderella very, very, very loosely. And, you know, it's like science fiction-y. Dealing with a cyborg and things like that, androids and whatever. I'm like really bad at, like, I can't even explain science fiction stuff. But yeah, so she really liked this book. And then this is another Rick Riordan, but a different series. This is Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard. Now, I believe this one deals with Norse mythology. Yeah, so she really, really, really loves mythology, and this was another one of her favorite series. And then the last one, I believe, is also YA. Oh, it's by the same author. So we have some of the same authors, Marissa Meyer. But this one is a different one. This one's Renegades by Marissa Meyer. This one, again, I'm not really sure. It sounds like adventure. It's like, it's hard for me to describe. We've gone over it. Like, you guys, if you're interested in books, you have to check out my book videos, because every month we do what I read and book reviews usually, and my daughter describes the books and stuff like that. But these were her top 6. So now the favorite curriculum of 5th grade. And when I say curriculum, I kind of DIY everything, as you guys can tell. Like, I kind of just like use mainly books and stuff like that. I was like, books as curriculum and stuff like that. Like, so these are like books / curriculum mainly, because that's what we do. So this was like my top 5. So my year of writing, I really enjoyed. I think it really added a nice little creative prompt and beginning to her language writing sessions. I really thought it was fun, and I would definitely buy it again. And then, keeping with that same idea for art, I really liked 365 Days of Art, how it's like a different writing prompt every day. Same concept, the 365. I like that. And I think it really added a lot to her art exploration. And actually, now that I'm talking out loud to you guys, since she is continuing this over the summer, I think I'm going to change my mind and add this in, because I don't remember. But regardless, I think I'm going to add this in and have her continue it so it can be a complete book. Now that I'm talking about how much I like it, I'm going to have her finish it. And then this one's same concept. There's a theme here, you guys. I really like 365 type books. This one isn't 365 days, but it's like a whole, it's kind of like that same vibe. North American Math for Curious Minds. I really liked this book. You know, it's very short, as in like, but we never really go into big depth for geography. And I feel like it's very much like stuff that we relate to, which is kind of like looking at something visually and then learning visually. Visual learners, we're both visual learners, and so I really liked this book. I really looked forward to doing this part of geography with her every day, and she did too. And this was, like, I would say probably her favorite book. I would say of the whole year. She really liked this book, so this was one of our favorites. This, again, I'm including it for art. How to Draw Modern Flowers for Kids. This was one of my favorites because I like the simplicity of it. There's a million types of books like this, but I really found that this one, like, you know, was like very simple, and yet, like, I really liked the end drawing, and I liked how it doesn't overcomplicate things. And I liked it so much that I told you guys I bought different versions of it for next year. I really liked it for her. And then I would say my number 1 pick of the entire year is Aesop's Illustrated Fables. I told you guys, I think, when I was going over the review, that I really loved it. It really replaced our longer oral reading. We are both excited to continue it for 6th grade. I think it was a very good purchase. I actually bought it at Barnes & Noble one day when I was in there, and so I really love it, and we're going to definitely continue it next year. As far as, like, curriculum went, as far as, like, you know, like, writing and things like that, like, I would say all of it went fairly well. Nothing really stood out to me other than these books I show you guys as my favorites. Like, my least favorite, which technically is not really, it's like a book, not really curriculum, but my least favorite subject, I already kind of mentioned it, was history, and this was my least favorite book for what we were using it for. Not that it's made to be what we were using it for, but it just was. I just did not look forward to history. But yeah, that's my favorites of the year. And then these are my favorite little things. I wanted to include you my most used supplies and favorite supplies to end this video with. Oh yeah, I'll also say that this book, my daughter, I bought this for her to do math with, and she didn't like it. I thought it was, it's so cute. It's like pastels, you know, the grid paper and stuff like that. And she didn't really like it, actually. Let me take this. She preferred just using a simple white graphing notebook, and that's what she ended up using for her math. So I did buy this on Amazon thinking, I think some kids might really like it, but she didn't connect with it. I actually thought, oh, she's going to like... So this was, I'd say, like, the biggest, like, waste of money for me this year. I could have forced her to use it, but I was just like, ugh. We had another plain notebook, but she did not use this. So yeah, so there's a theme here with the brand Tombow, if I'm saying that correctly. And so this is a mechanical pencil. We switched this year mainly to using mechanical pencils, and it's gone really well. I bought like lead. I bought little eraser refills, all from jetpens.com. And then I got this also, same brand, same style. It's a mono stick by Tombow eraser, and then I got this red pen for me to check her work. Same brand, you can see it's the same style. They have different colors and stuff too, but this eraser stick, you can replace it. I bought refills and everything. This is like the best eraser we've ever used. I've said that before, but like it just erases so much better than like a regular pencil erasers, and even like other art brand erasers I've used. Like it's so good. It erases pretty much everything. Like you don't even see the pencil at all. Like it's so good. I'm just gonna buy these forever. Like the replacement sticks until this, hopefully it won't break, but if it does, I'm just gonna buy a new one. But yeah, so you replace the eraser and you just push it down and use it. She loves them for her personal art and for homeschool. The biggest other love I had for the year was continuing to use magnetic bookmarks. These are just different sets. This is like reversible. I like this one because it has like the arrow. So if you stop, especially like when I'm reading like my personal novels and stuff like that, if I want to highlight a quote, I use these a lot personally, but for homeschool, you can use either side. And this one's also like little arrow, different ones. But yeah, I'm going to continue to buy these, and we reuse them, of course. But this was like my most used resource, of course. It replaced sticky tabs and regular bookmarks, which fell. But yeah, so I think that's everything, you guys. Oh my gosh. So thank you so much for watching, subscribing, liking, commenting. I love it all, and I'm so glad you're here. Have a good day or night. Bye.